Hey viewers, welcome to my orchid world. Today we will be reporting few dendrobium orchids and one vanda orchid. These orchids have been needing repotting for a very long period of time. Few of them are seedlings. The vanda orchid is a mature plant which was mounted on a slab. So we will be looking into all the aspects of repotting orchids, what all the materials we need, how do we repot them, what kind of conditions are needed after you repot them. So we will be looking into all of them. There are different type of seedlings in my collection. Few of them are just out of the flask. They have been in my collection for about 2 to 3 months, and few of them are being produced, or say the kiki has been produced in my collection. You have seen it in one of my previous videos. So let us start repotting our seedlings. For repotting we will need few basic things like a cutter, a mount, some potting media, some pots, and some ties or say threads to tidy up the orchids. Here I will be using bark chips, few pieces of charcoal, a bit of coconut fiber because I do not have sphagnum moss at the moment. So I will be using an alternative, the coconut fiber, which degrades faster than sphagnum moss, but it will do the job for the moment. I had some few small chips, some big bark chips, and to repot orchids we will definitely need pots, and also we will need, say if you want to mount some orchids on slabs, you will need the mounting slabs. Here you can see a dendrobium orchid. This is the dendrobium hercoglossum, which has a small kiki already growing. The mother plant is already very tiny. Still it has produced one kiki, but it has not achieved the blooming period. Maybe it is matured, it will need some more time to grow, some more years to grow, and then it will produce blooms. I will mount it on a slab which was previously with me. One orchid was mounted on it. The Vanda peaches was mounted on it. The dendrobium hercoglossum is a pendulous orchid, and also its blooms bloom pendulously. The hercoglossum came with a bit of sphagnum moss at the base. I have watered the hercoglossum so that it is easier for me to mount it on the slab. I will not remove the sphagnum moss as it will provide moisture and humidity to the orchid as new roots grow and attaches themselves to the mount. I will mount it in an inverted position so that it grows pendulously towards downwards, and the slab is quite long for adjusting, and the hercoglossum will be quite adjusted in the slab. I will put it towards the root ball will be towards the top part, so that the entire orchid fits in the entire slab. For firm attachment I will use bit of twist tie. You can use a rope instead of the twist tie. If you do not have a twist tie, a rope will also do the job. And while mounting any orchid, you should check the size of the slab so that the entire plant fits in it. It should not be very big or it should not be very small. It should fit optimally so that the plant has place to grow. The roots should be able to grow and attach themselves to the slab. This slab was very handy because it has many number of holes, so the rope or the twist tie will go several times in and out, and it can be easily fitted into the slab. Here you can see It's well adjusted in the slab, quite of the size of the dendrobium hercoglossum. It's done. Mounting is very easy, and it has already a hanger. One metal hanger is there already, so I do not have to search for another hanger. It will just be okay, and it will take some time to grow the roots and attach to the slab, and after that it will be okay. Just after mounting on a slab, just keep it watering sometimes, because if the root ball gets dried up, the sphagnum moss will fall off. You can use some mesh to hold the sphagnum moss at place, or you can just moist them from time to time so that it doesn't fall off. To firmly attach the plant, I have used another twist tie, and it's quite long, so it will be going in and out, and then it will attach firmly. In a previous video, I had told you about propagation methods of hybrid dendrobium orchids as well as species dendrobium orchids. The canes which I had cut into pieces have produced 2 kikis. Few of the canes had dried off and I just threw them away, and I have another kiki from another dendrobium plant which I have lost the ID unfortunately, but it has produced a kiki. The mother plant is almost dead, all the canes have dried up, and the kiki were attached to one of the almost half dead cane. This cane is also almost getting dried up from the root part, and so that's why it has produced the kiki. The root ball is almost dried up, all the canes have dried up, so I am going to repot this kiki. It has been quite long, it has quite a nice root system, and so I will pot this kiki together with the kiki that has been produced from the cuttings. I will plant them together, and if it is of some different color, so it will be a nice show. And what you need to do is just cut the cane, keep some part of the cane with the kiki so that it certainly doesn't get a shock. And the potting media is very dried up, is very old, so I'll throw them away. You can see these are the kikis that has been produced from the cut canes which I had placed in a moist medium. There are 2 kikis. I will place these 3 kikis together in a pot. And for dendrobium orchids, you should always select a pot which is a bit small, because dendrobium orchids like very compact potting, and I will pot these 3 kikis together in a small pot. Now here I have done a disaster. I have made a disaster. As you can see, while cutting the cane, I just chopped off the crown of the kiki. Can you see? This is how disasters happen. But nevertheless, the crown has got chopped off, but one leaf is there. I hope it survives. It's such a disaster, as you can see. This is, but nevertheless I have another kiki of the same plant. This is the dendrobium sonia, which has beautiful deep purple flowers. It bloomed few days ago. You have seen it in my previous video. I have another kiki. It is well intact. It has been saved. So I could have just twisted the kiki and detached it from the cane, but I decided to cut the cane, keep a part of the cane with the kiki, and this is how you may also have done some disasters in your life, but it's okay, it happens. So this is the pot where I will be potting the 3 dendrobium kikis together. One of them is different, 2 of them are similar from the same plant. And for potting, dendrobium orchids always need some airy medium. I'll use some brick pieces, some charcoal pieces, some bark pieces, and a bit of coconut coir, coconut fiber, and I will do it as I hold the kikis together. While potting the kikis, hold the kikis together with the to near the rim of the pot so that it doesn't get buried in the potting media. Otherwise, the root ball will rot, because you will keep on watering the medium and it will be in constant moist condition, and then the roots will rot, because these are kikis, these are baby plants. They are very vulnerable towards water, towards sunlight, direct sunlight, and you need to take care of them. You should allow the medium to dry in between waterings, and that's why I am using more of charcoal, more of bark pieces, and very less amount of coconut fiber. This year winter has almost set in a bit earlier than the previous year, and because of continuous rain the temperatures have gone down, and I feel winter will be coming early this year. And my other orchids like phalaenopsis orchids will bloom earlier. They will put out spikes in another 1 month, and I feel the species orchids which need winter rest will go for hibernation, go for winter rest earlier, because it's already, the temperatures have already gone down, and it's, you can say it's midwinter already. So I'm done with the potting here, and since winter is approaching, I have decided that I should repot these kikis before winter comes in, because after winter comes in, growth of the roots, of the leaves, of the shoot, of the canes will slow down. Not necessary that they will totally stop, because that's why it was necessary for me to repot these orchids before it's full winter. And because after you repot, you will need to water them, and the roots will need to take up water, and that's why before winter you have to do the repotting part, and the extra parts I have chopped off. So that's why it will need some time before winter, so to adjust to the new pot. After repotting, it is very necessary to water the orchids to make the roots moist. This particular setup needs watering because the media was totally dry, the bark pieces were totally dry, the charcoal pieces were dry, so I have kept the pot to soak the water for few minutes, and then I'll take it off. The cane pieces from which I detached the kikis are still green, and I hope they will produce more kikis, so I have kept them in the moist condition, in humid condition. Let me see if they produce new kikis. But since I told you that winter is approaching, and I don't know if kikis will produce right now, but I will continue to keep them in the moist condition. The another orchid that I have is the Vanda peaches, which fell off from the slab. I don't know why it didn't attach the roots to the slab, but I thought I should pot it this time. The Vanda peaches, it grows well in a potted condition, and so I thought I should pot it right this time. But I had thought that I will not unmount it from the slab, but since it fell off, it came off from the slab, I thought I should repot it in a pot. I will pot it with medium. There are a few dried roots that I just chopped off, and I took this pot. It was lying with me. The holes are made by me because Vanda orchids need spaces for the roots to grow. I'll use the same medium to pot the Vanda peaches. The pot is quite small because the plant is small, and Vanda peaches is itself a very small sized Vanda orchid. It will produce kikis but it will not grow much more than this. This is a mature plant. It has bloomed already in 2 years back. Last year it didn't bloom. 2 years back it had bloomed. So it is a mature plant. It is a blooming size plant, and hence this is the maximum size that it will grow. Maybe it will produce a kiki, which will again grow. I have used the same potting media, bark pieces, charcoal pieces, and a bit of coconut fiber. That's why I have chosen a small pot for the Vanda orchid. The pots that we choose for orchids, we should adjust it to the orchid size of the orchid. It shouldn't be very small, it shouldn't be very big. It should be of the same size of the root ball. The root ball should fit properly. It should not be congested. It should not be very big for the root ball according to the size of the root ball. So hold the orchid with one hand near the rim of the pot and keep on adding the media as long as it fits, and the stability of the orchid should be maintained. It is very important that the orchid is stable in the medium. It should not move once you release the orchid from your hand. Arrange the medium around the orchid so that it fits in. It makes the plant stable, and there is no hard and fast rule that you should maintain the look of the pot. Your stability of the orchid is more important, and that's done. Potting of the Vanda peaches is done. I have another orchid which is very tiny. It is dendrobium tortile, and I will not repot it. I let it remain because the kiki is very small. There is another orchid. This is the Vanda amethysto. This is the dendrobium amethystoglossum. Amethystoglossum has very long elongated canes. This is a very tiny orchid. It will take many years to grow to the matured size. As you can see, new kikis are growing, and I have decided to repot it. Repot in the sense, I will not change anything. I will not remove the sphagnum moss. Just I'll put it in a bigger pot. It came with a small mesh pot, and since kikis are growing, the kikis are very healthy, so I decided to just plant it in a bigger pot. I have a small earthen pot which doesn't have any holes. Just hold the root ball along with the sphagnum moss that came with it. I will not remove anything, just repot, just uppot it. Just hold the entire plant with the potting media together, and just to make it stable, I will use some bark pieces so that it remains stable, so that it grows inside the pot with stability, because stability is very, very important in case of any orchid. Otherwise the roots will not grow, and ultimately the orchid will be stressed. So this is how I will pot it. Once it grows bigger, I will uppot it again. And if you have seen a dendrobium amethystoglossum, it has very beautiful white or say ivory colored flowers with very dark magenta lip. It looks very beautiful. So I have decided to buy it. I was wanting it to have it in my collection for a very long time. Ultimately I got a kiki. I got a small plant, a small baby plant. It cost me around 250 rupees, but yes, I know I have to wait for it to bloom, but the wait is worth it because the blooms are very beautiful. And kiki, the plant is showing healthy signs. It is growing. It will take some time. Till then it will be in this pot, and once it grows to about say 15 to 20 centimeters, I'll uppot it again. So here you can see all the repotted orchids, the dendrobiums, the Vanda orchid, and at the backdrop you can see the canes which I have kept for more kiki production, and the dendrobium tortile, that the kiki is very small. And the dendrobium hercoglossum mounted on the slab. So after repotting, what are the things that we need to keep in mind? First is we should water them regularly and make the medium dry between waterings. You should not continuously water it. As I have said in many of my videos, we should not continuously water our orchids daily, or say twice a day, thrice a day. You should always check the medium. If the medium is dry, then you can water it, or if the medium is moist, you should refrain from watering. On a rainy day, always refrain from watering, because the atmosphere is already moist, already humid, and hence the orchid is getting its share of water from the environment, and you do not water it from externally or additionally. And mounted orchids need extra care, extra watering, because the root ball is exposed, the medium is exposed, and hence you should water them and check them also. If the medium is dry, then only you can water it, because mounted orchids, usually what I do is mount them without any medium. I use a bit of sphagnum moss, but then most of the roots are exposed, and that's why they need constant watering, and the water runs down from the slab or the tree where it is mounted, and hence it needs regular watering. Mounted orchids also take moisture from the atmosphere, and hence they will survive if you do not water a day or two, but you should not neglect them watering for a very long time, say 1 week or 10 days or so. So you should keep a check on the mounted orchids more often than the potted one. Potted one will survive because the roots are not that exposed to air as compared to the mounted orchids. I had this basket where I used to dump all my kikis, all my broken canes. Remember, you have seen it in my videos. The basket is in a very bad condition. It is totally broken. It is outside. It has gone through all the ups and downs in temperatures. It has undergone rain. So the basket was made of plastic, and that's why it has got damaged. It is broken, as you can see. So I need to repot this bunch of dendrobium kikis. There are a few matured ones. What I am thinking is that I will take the entire setup. There are multiple number of dendrobium kikis in there, dendrobium types. So this is what I have done. I have taken the whole bunch of dendrobium, multiple types of dendrobiums, and just attached it to one of my betel nut trees that has grown in my compound. The entire thing is being attached to the has been attached to the tree. So now you can see the big bunch of roots of different types of orchids. There are dendrobium aphyllums, there are dendrobium this is another dendrobium aphyllum which was attached previous year, and you can see the pendulous canes that is growing. This year it will bloom, and when it blooms pendulously, it looks very very beautiful when it is grown in nature, in natural conditions like this. So this type of pendulous orchids look best when they are mounted. That's why I decided to mount the hercoglossum on that slab. This is another dendrobium. This is a species, but it is hard cane dendrobium. It was also mounted last year. It is growing new canes, and this year hopefully it will bloom. It has yellow flowers, and for mounting on trees you should look for a bit of shady trees, that is the sun. And this side where I have mounted the dendrobium orchids gets the shade from these big trees. There is a large mango tree there, and it provides shade to my mounted orchids in this way. So this is the most appropriate conditions for orchids to grow. They get filtered sunlight which get filtered from the leaves from the canopy of the trees, and it gets rain when it is raining. They get rain that is also filtered, and that is the best setup. So that is all for today. Hope you have liked the repotting video. Hope you got some useful information from it. I will be looking forward to your comments. Please comment in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.